Hello everyone. It's me, Chaff Commander Coffee, back with another episode of my multiplayer commentaries for Zero AD. I'd like to start by saying I'm pretty sorry about the fact that I haven't had a chance to upload any videos for Zero AD in a while. I was really looking for some solid games I could do a commentary on, but also because over the past couple of weeks I've been pretty ill. I had my birthday, I had loads of overtime at work. I've just been really busy, basically. It's been quite hectic. So I haven't had that much time to really sit down and do some commentaries. But I've picked one out, and we're going to do it today. So let's not waste any time, but I thought I'd best start off by apologising for my lack of videos. I am going to be uploading quite a few videos over the next couple of days, so do keep an eye out. A mix for all my different series. I've got a Civilization 4 Realism Invictus campaign that I'm now working on. I should get some videos uploaded for that soon. I'm going to do a couple more Zero AD multiplayer commentaries. I'm planning on doing a build order as well. I did a couple of I did another Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead video. So yeah, I'm getting back into the swing of things. But again, let's get into it and show some of these off. So, where is it? Would have helped if I had have picked it out before I started recording. But there we go. It was a 1v1. Let's see. A population. I can't remember the map. I don't think we picked it. I'm pretty sure it was random or unknown land. Might have been mainland. Let's just go through the list quickly. You guys are probably going to find it before me. Game against Javier Jose. Wherever that's gone. Javier Jose. Oh, there's a bunch of testing games I was doing in the stream. Let's see. Might be further down actually. Here we go. Right. Here we go. So, yeah, it was a 1v1. I played against Javier Jose. I'm going to just say that wrong all the time. So, I'm going to refer to Javier here as JJ, since that's the initials of his username. So either JJ or just J. Yeah, it was a 1v1 we played on mainland, 250 pop, medium map size, pretty standard stuff, and it was just really fun. It was a lot like my game with Kazu, but obviously I had a lot more time playing Zero AD since that game, and JJ is obviously a high-ranked player, so it will be a bit more of a higher skill game, I suppose. It lasted an hour, so for those of you that aren't interested, this is an hour-long commentary, and I'm probably going to lose my voice by the end of it. There we go. Let's jump in. It was a really fun game. There was a lot of back and forth. It was a very intense early game. It moved into siege combat, pushing up the map. It was pretty incredible. And I'll try and point out as much as I can. I'm going to stay an observer for the most part, simply because there was a lot of interesting stuff happening on both sides, both players. So at the start of the game, we've got me over in the top right here. I'm playing as Carthage. I go with 6 women as my starting build. We've got Javier in the bottom left, and he's playing as the Britons. I believe JJ or Jay picked Britons. I played random. So I'm thinking to myself, we're looking at a cav rush. We can see 6 women popping out, which is pretty standard. Got a storehouse on his back wood line here. 6 women pop out. 2 of them go to berries, so he'll have 6 women on berries. He's also got his war dog. He's now training single women. My women, I get one of them to go on berries just to bring that up to 5, and the rest of them go on wood. Annoyingly, some of my chickens spawn in the stone, so I'm actually down a few chicken, but it looks like JJ either has a few chicken that are stuck in the stone that we can't see, or he didn't get any stuck in the stone. Either way, that's going to be a bit annoying. So we're looking at, I'm up to now 15 women. I think I just about managed to house myself for a little bit. Not too long, it's just a few seconds whilst I get that house up. The Britons obviously won't house themselves because their storehouses and such give them a bit of extra pop cap. So we can see now JJ's up to 18 women and he's starting to train some raiding cavalry. He's probably seen this hunt out the front of his base. He hasn't actually, so he's building the raiding cavalry ahead of time, going for some early attacks, which is to be expected. He also gets one of his women to break off and start building a farm quite early on. So these cavalry are likely to come out and just start scouting. He gets 2 women after that. Ooh, they've actually, yeah, okay, now he starts getting them to move out with his other cavalryman who's now finished the chickens to do a bit of scouting. On my side, we're now up to 20 women. I'm training another 5. So I'm going for a bit more of a standard build order here, getting some more women out. Not playing too defensively. My cavalryman's now gone to scout, and I've now noticed there's a pocket of peacocks up here. So I do train an extra cavalryman to go and hunt those. I'm going to train quite a few more cavalrymen to do that over the course of the game. We can see JJ's now moved with his 3 cavalry. They've just beelined up the map, not actually scouted, they're just going straight for my base. And he's going to try and score some early kills. And he's going to take some fire from the town centre. Some of my women start taking some javelins. I think I lose a couple here. No, I didn't lose. Okay, I might lose the 1. Okay, so I lost 1 woman. My archers break off to do some shots on his cavalry. We almost kill one of them. He's going to move back in to fight my men. So he's going to lose 1 cavalry there. So 1 cavalry for 1 woman. That's a good trade for me, although it has idled my my workers for a little bit. So I lost a few resources there, but not a big issue. He's starting to get his barracks up. He's currently up to 24 women. He's trained a few extra slingers, a few extra spearmen. Probably just to do some building and do some more wood cutting. He's now training even more women, get some more farming up. A bit of a mistake, he should have brought his war dog in to help with that raid, for sure. I'm now training, I've now moved on to training archers. I'm currently up to 28 women. I believe I've now scouted 3 pockets of hunt. I've got some peacocks here, some up here, and some in the south part here. So I'm going to be training a few extra cavalry. I've got 2 cavalry out now, gathering those. My women have now finished on the berries. They'll be building a new farm pretty shortly, as soon as I realise that they're not doing anything. Javier is up to 3 farms now. He's got about 30 women. He's got his 2 cavalry. He's trading some more slingers. So he hasn't built too many more cavalry after that initial attack, and he's got his war dog doing a bit of scouting. He has noticed these peacocks over here, and he's going to get his wounded cavalrymen to go and gather from those. Probably should just garrison these guys to get them healed up and have these 2 guys hunt instead. It will make his future attacks that little bit more efficient by having all of his cavalry up to full health. But it's not a big issue. Currently I've got berry picking upgrade, haven't got farming. I've got my woodworking upgrade. Javier hasn't got farming. He hasn't got woodworking either, so he's got slightly slower woodcutting going on here. As far as populations go, I'm currently up to 42. Javier's up to 50. I believe he got the extra chickens at the start of the game. Some of mine are still stuck. I think, oh well, my cavalry managed to kill it, but he didn't gather it. Also, I haven't built near as many women. I'm still training more cavalrymen, more archers. So I don't think I've got quite as many. You can see, there's 31 women there. And also, being able to save wood by building slingers is going to give him a little bit of a nicer spread in terms of batch recruitment. So he's got his barracks up now, batch recruiting slingers, probably until he runs out of stone. I don't see him mining any extra stone. So likely after he's finished that, off his early stone stocks, yeah, he's already used up all his stone. So now that's probably what's given him a bit of an early lead in terms of population. He's already going for Fertility Festival, which I'm not... I don't really see people do this, especially 6 minutes into the game. That's really, really early on. It's quite an expensive upgrade as well. If I quickly hop over to my side, Fertility Festival is 100 metal, 100 food, and 250 food and 100 wood. So it's pretty pricey, but it does let you build a lot more women. It's just I'm not sure what he's going to do with them.
Yeah,
obviously he's going to go very heavy into farming. He's already got 34 women farming these 7 fields. He's got one woman down here just woodcutting still. She should probably move over to this farm sooner or later. Oh dear. Really, he's got, is it his war dog or some such over here? Yeah, I notice his war dog is watching my hunt right now, but he hasn't got great vision of it, so you can only see really these peacocks here. His cavalry are coming up on the left side though, so he's looking for another opportunity to attack. Not the most aggressive cavalry raiding I've seen in a game, but it's going to give him a bit of pressure early on. I'm currently sitting on 5 farms. I'm building another one, so I've got my 30 women for those farms there. Now moving over to building some more spearmen, mostly focusing on archers, I do believe. Yeah, I'm currently focusing on archers because I'm expecting more cavalry to come in and attack as the game progresses. So we've cleared up this hunt over here, we've cleared this one up here. Javier has cleared up his forward hunt and he's now sitting on 8 cavalry. There's another raiding cavalry being trained here, but not too many. His total population is looking around these, that's 20, 66, 70, 76, 74. Yeah, 74. So 46 women, pretty heavy onto women. They'll move over to farms once he feels he's got enough wood income from... he's just getting more cavalry right now. Clearing up some of that aggressive fauna, those tigers, which are a bit of a pain. They can actually block some of your wood lines if you're not careful. My 7 cavalry haven't got much to do right now. We haven't got any more hunt to really look for, so I believe they're going to go off on sort of a little flanking attack. Got my first barracks up, that's training units alongside my town centre. Yeah, so we're getting some more spearmen from there. I'm starting to get my second barracks up, using the extra stone I get early on as Carthage. It's 150 stone for a barracks, so I can get 2 barracks up without too many issues. I've desaturated this wood line, so I don't want quite as many men working there. I've only got the 8 archers. I've got a few units cutting this stone, but not too many. I'm currently up to 70 population, whereas Javier is up to 92. He did get that barracks up a lot sooner, which is obviously causing him to get a bit of a population lead on me, but I didn't think it was necessary. I do catch this early attack, so I ring the alarm bells nice and quickly. He's now moving men over to attack my forward wood line, but he is going to engage some spearmen here, so whether he stays to fight is a different question. He doesn't, so I pull my men back. Don't want to leave them out in the open. The archers, however, can carry on fighting. He brings in another 4 cavalrymen, which probably he just batch trained from his barracks. We pick up another cavalry kill there. He's just trying to skirmish my spearmen away. I think he's going to pick one up, and the rest are going to get back to the wood line. My barracks no longer training units. They really should be getting units out here. Am I blocked by a resource deficit? No, I'm not. Probably just wondering. Yeah, Javier's now losing a little bit of food, and my cavalry now come into the middle of his base to start hitting his farmers. So during the middle of his raid, I decide I'll raid his base, and we're getting quite a few kills here on his women. So we're gonna knock a couple of his farms out. We're gonna get a spearman here. I'm just gonna leave these cavalry engaged. I think I already committed to leaving these cavalry engaged for as long as I possibly could. Now they need to get back to my base because this backwood line is all slingers. If he was playing a bit more quickly, he could have got these men off the wood line and probably slung my cavalry to death at that point. But we did pick up quite a lot of kills with that raid, which is quite nice. And I do notice that he's training even more cavalry. So I am aware that he's going quite cavalry heavy right now. The populations are 72 to JJ's 95. But he's running a bit low on food, especially after I just hit his farm. So he's going to have to pull his women off to sort that out. I don't think either player's up to phase 2 yet. I'm currently very heavy on food and don't have enough wood. But thankfully, having a surplus of food is going to give me an advantage in terms of trade. Because he's going to be spending, JJ's going to spend a lot of his food on cavalry and won't have that to marketplace. So yeah, he's pulling his women off of wood now and going to get them to replace the fallen on the farms. He's got another storehouse up to this wood line here. Seeing some more cavalry come out. So we're getting more cavalry all the time from JJ's town centre and his barracks. He's up to 25 Javenirs. These spearmen are still doing nothing, which is a bit of a mistake on my part. In fact, they now aggro these cavalry outside of the range of my storehouse, but I do notice them. I get all my men to just put their resources away and just engage here. I pick up another cavalryman. There's another. So we've got 3 cavalry kills there, 4. Might pick up a 5th one on this wounded guy. Not quite, but we did a pretty good job. So we knocked out 3 of his cavalry, or 4 of his cavalry. So he's only got 23 ready to attack. He's going to swing them round to try and hit my main base. What we're going to see is we should get a town bell come up soon. There we go. There's the town alarm. I'm going to lose a spearman or 2. But it's nothing too egregious right here. So yeah, we're going to lose a few men. We're going to lose a few miners to this attack, but nothing too bad. Both my barracks are still safe to continue to produce units. And now he's caught quite far into my base, under the town centre. I'm going to catch a few of his cavalry out, get some more damage on them, really just push them back out of my base. I'm going to hit a couple more before they manage to get away. Yeah, we got another one there. So far the trades are kind of going in my favour, which is pretty good. He's not able to hit any one of my wood lines or such very effectively. I need to call that town alarm again. There we go. His main base, we can see another 4 cavalrymen coming up. I think he's literally just batch training. He's going to phase 2. He's not batch training any more cavalry, so currently he's still up to a total of 32. But that's 32 of his population that's not working, so he's currently only at 70 working population, whereas I'm at 90, because my population is always working. He's now reached the town phase. I'm still waiting on enough wood to do that, but I am now saturating these wood lines a bit more. I've got another wood line up here that's now working. I'm building another barracks for my stone and my metal line to try and push that pop growth up. So yeah, I'm more worried about really getting my population count up rather than going for the next phase. So we're seeing 32 cavalry here. Again, pretty dangerous numbers. And if he hits, he's going to hit my my barracks that's under construction. I think I managed to cap myself, house myself. Not quite, but pretty close. I do delete the foundation for the barracks, so I'm going to lose a bit of stone resources there for that. But it's not too bad. We're going to get some more shots off on his cavalry, just getting some more damage in. He's going to pick up a few spearmen if he continues to fight. So we do get another cavalryman. We are going to lose a few spearmen. It's not too bad though. This wood line should get pulled into the defense pretty soon. Otherwise, yeah. So now I'm clicking up to age 2. So we're not getting that much idle time. And if he stays to try and hit this house down, my men will engage him. So overall, it's pretty even. His raids haven't really gotten him the damage he needed on my eco. My eco was a bit slow though. Again, I don't think I got enough women, but that would have also made me a lot more susceptible to these attacks. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword there. I'm now committing quite a lot of units onto the mines. That might have just been a misclick of mine, but there you go. Yeah, I decided to take these men off of the wood line here and have them go to the mines, and then I'll have new units produced onto the wood lines. and that will solve that slight mineral deficit that I have. All these units that are currently idle, they're probably going to get a storehouse up, and I should hope they'll get a storehouse up. I haven't clicked any of the Age 2 upgrades yet. Let's take a look at Javier. Hasn't even got the Age 1 woodcutting upgrade. He does have the Age 1 farming upgrade, but not Age 2. So he's really not bothered about his wood income, and I think he's got plenty of it already. No, he's starting to fall low on that. So certainly he could have invested in that woodcutting upgrade a bit earlier, and that would have helped a great deal in regards to his wood economy. Should see some more upgrades coming out from me pretty soon, but it's equally likely that I'm getting that next barracks up and getting some more houses up. Wood does continue to be an issue throughout this sort of stage of the game. I'm going to send my 3 cavalry out. These are the only cavalrymen that managed to survive the early attack that I made. And they're going to go in for another little bit of a cheeky attack if they don't just do some scouting. You can see I've explored a fair amount of the map right now. I do need to explore more of it though, because I haven't found any nearby metal, which could be a problem as the game progresses. Javier has picked up where most of the outside metal mines are. As you can see, they're spread pretty evenly across the map, but there's a nice cluster over here. There's 3 metal mines on this side of the map, along with a collection of stone, a couple of pockets of stone there. There's a large amount of stone in the eastern side of the map, with this one lone metal mine, but that's more up for JJ's taking, because it's much more closer to its base. Seeing the Britons make great use of their making pretty solid use of their farming bonuses. Haven't seen the farming upgrade go up yet, but that seems to be fine. As far as this population's going, we're at 179 for JJ. We're watching a blacksmith go up, and probably after that some ranged cavalry upgrades. On my side we're at 145, but again, one thing to consider is that JJ's economy has got 33 cavalry that are not working. So you have to take whatever his cavalry unit is off of his working population, because they're not actually doing anything. So that is definitely something to consider. Like, we are pretty even on our eco populations, and I've focused more on actually getting those upgrades. Haven't got any mining upgrades yet, which is a big mistake, but I do need to get more wood coming in. There's a marketplace coming up over here, because I realised, yep, I've got to start trading for that wood. I ought to get some more farmers up as well. Should see 5 women popping from my town centre as soon as I identify the lack of food that I have. My cavalry continue to do a bit of scouting. Meanwhile, JJ just continuing to chop wood. Basically, we've kind of come out of the early game, and he's going to do a bit of a cheeky side attack with those sword cavalry, I believe. So my javelin cavalry decide to scout his base. This is probably me wanting to see what phase he's at. So I can see that because his borders have now expanded from the beginning of the game, he is now up to phase 2, so I do know that for a fact now. Okay, still haven't got any more farmers coming out on my side. The marketplace is up though, my population's now up to 173. Here's the 2 cavalry, cheeky bastards. I think he's going to try and sneak them into my farms and get some kills there. Obviously my woodcutters are like, nah, we don't want to bother with no Celtic cavalry. Like, that's not our problem. But these miners will just absolutely destroy his cavalry once they realise that they're there. I think he's only going to pick up 1 or 2 women out of this. So I hear the attack. I sound the alarm. His cavalry run off into the back of the map there, but I don't think they're going to do anything. My spearmen are going to pick him off here unless he manages to avoid them. This wood line, I think, picks up all of them. And my cavalry got caught again scouting his base. So I do know he's still got quite a large mass of cavalry sitting around in his base, ready to do what they do best. Meanwhile, got another couple of barracks have gone up on these new wood lines, so really intensifying my eco right now. Trying to go for phase 3 as far as I'm aware. I've got a huge stockpile of stone and metal. I'm starting to trade food for wood. How many buildings am I on? I'm 2 buildings off of getting the next age. I believe I'm going to stick some temples down pretty soon, because obviously as Carthage I train my champion units from my temples. So we're definitely going to need some temples up sooner or later. I can see a large movement. I think this was just him chasing my scouts. As far as the map looks, Javier hasn't really explored this northern corner too much, whereas I have now identified the entire map. So I really have a solid idea of where expansions may decide to go in the future. JJ is now bartering food for stone, so I think he's bartering for his age up. Yeah, he's now clicking for age up. He's getting a bunch more houses. I think he's really trying to push for pop cap right now. And once he's hit his pop cap, I believe he then builds a forward expansion. I've now housed myself again. Good stuff me. I don't realise that for a little bit. Apparently I don't realise that I've housed myself for a fair while. Yeah, I'm starting to get some more farmers out finally. This is a line of extra houses to come up on that side, just to try to reduce the damage we take from raids on this flank, and really try and force my opponent. I've got a really solid block of units here. This has now all been cleared out, so there's going to be either, probably, I think my temples go up around here and here. But most of my units are going to be concentrated in the center point. So that's where I believe we're going to see the attacks coming in from. Okay. So no real development. From those early attacks, there was no real aggressive development from either player. I think this is mostly because, again, you wanna, if you're gonna commit to your raids early and they don't go very well, you do need to try and push your eco, because otherwise your opponent will get an advantage over you. I don't think I make enough of a push into my economy. I should have got my farmers out way earlier, my extra farmers. That's fine. JJ's now gone to the city phase. Can we see what blacksmith upgrades he's gone for? Right, ranged infantry damage. Okay, so he's going for ranged infantry damage, which is interesting. I believe the majority, he has got a lot of slingers, don't get me wrong, he's going to have a lot of slingers when he commits to attack my main base. I believe he commits only his slingers and his javelin cavalry. I don't think he actually commits any spin. Which does give me a melee sort of pressure. He can't really engage my lines without feeling the brunt of my infantry units. So he always has to constantly be skirmishing his units back and forth. So JJ's up to 250, I'm basically up to 250 now. As far as stockpiles go, JJ's really looking low on the metal and the stone, which is going to hurt him in terms of siege combat. But he's got plenty of food and wood left, so he can kind of play the chaff game. My food is now being sorted out because I am starting to get. I'm going to age 3, starting to get some more farmers. Nothing pretty insane though. I've only got 8 farms, but I've got all the farming upgrades, and I think I click up for age 3 farming pretty soon. Whereas JJ is still lacking on those eco upgrades, which is probably a big mistake right now. He's building a forward town centre. One of his cavalry comes out and aggro's a bunch of my dudes. I think he's going to try and keep his units hidden from me for the time being, and I can't quite see this this expansion. It's just outside my sight range. So far he's committed a total of 110 units to this forward expansion. Now he's pulling his cavalry in through the side to try and see what he can hit, but there is nowhere. He's going to get engaged by 2 wood lines if he decides to engage with his cavalry. And they're all still wounded, like he didn't bother to get a temple to get these guys healed up. So these guys should now come off the woods. There we go. I'm trying to get them to deposit their wood first before engaging. At my blacksmith, you can see I've got the infantry damage upgrade and the first infantry armor upgrade, which is going to make a big difference in how well my units perform. So yeah, I can see this expansion. I start to push my units forward into it, but I realise he's probably committed far too many men for me to make more of an impact. So we're going to rely on the power of my archers to outrange the Britons. Britain's obviously not having great range units. He's going for the fortress, first thing that he builds, obviously. My mines have now nearly almost all depleted, so I pull my extra wood lines off. I get my miners up to the front as well. So now we've now really moved into siege warfare here. And you're going to see, it's really lucky that my storehouse didn't actually flip over to him at that point. That is pretty damn lucky. But you can see, you're going to see quite a lot of siege warfare going on here. So we've got our first major engagement. Javelin cavalry on the left side have been engaged by spears, so they're taking quite a lot of damage there. My forward front line is a lot heftier than his, so he's going to have to pull his range units back. And my archers are just free to absolutely pep him. I've got over 60 archers just really tearing into his lines, and there's very little he can do about it. He's now starting to train some rams, which is no big surprise. This wood line's now coming off as well. I was really unlucky I didn't notice these barracks coming up. As you can see, I can see one here, and I can see that ram coming out. I think I did notice that. And I've got my own fortress coming up now. He's taking this engagement in the centre. I'm not sure if I agree with that. I've still got 15 spearmen in that melee. I think he's just going to come up and hit some of my houses. And we got a sacred band of a star are now being trained from my temples. I think this is sort of my only solid response force. And there you go, I got a batch recruitment of spearmen to bulk up my front line. We're going to see his men are starting to push on my temples. Not too bad. I'm still fighting under my temples, so I've got that healing bonus there as well, which is great. I start splitting my archer's fire up to really get damage on his entire slinger line. He's got a total of 43 slingers. He's still fighting over 50 of my archers. This fortress is about to go up, so my defensive fortress is about to pop. I decide to take my men off of chasing the ram because the Sacred Band are going to pop out and deal with that for me. So you can see the Sacred Band come out here. They're going to destroy this ram before it has a chance to take my barracks out. I'm just going to get a couple of units to go and repair that. So we can see JJ is now trading for some more. He's trading more of his food for more metal and stone so he can get more of those battering rams out. Whereas I am sitting on a massive surplus of wood, so all I really need to do is let my farmers, or keep my farmers working, and then I really have all of the economy that I need to keep this assault, or to keep this assault at bay. Now, I am running low on population, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm like 30 population down in this fight, and he's got these barracks on the front line, and he's got a bunch of javelineers queued up to try and really push the advantage. These Sacred Band are start to finish their job. They're going to hang around my base, just really ready to hit any rams that I see come out to engage me. The archers are still doing really solid work. Most of these guys are going up to rank 3 now, so they're getting pretty experienced. They're going to be laying the hurt. But he's bringing some more spearmen in. These rams come out on the left side of the fortress, and they're going to try and sweep round. But I'm now starting to win the ranged engagement, and I bring out a catapult because I think I need to start sieging my opponent's fortress down. And unless he can get actual spearmen onto that, he's going to have a real difficult time taking this catapult down. And I can just set that up and just start bringing his fortress down at a leisurely pace, and that's literally of no consequence to me. So I am going to lose a temple here, don't get me wrong, I will lose a temple here. But that's fine, he's not really getting anything super important. I should probably cancel this Sacred Band. No, I didn't cancel the Sacred Band in time, but he's going to lose 2 catapults for 1 temple, which is not really a great trade for him. And his slingers are still taking damage from my archers, and the catapult now starts beginning to do its work. The archer's going to pull back. I now set these guys to, they should be set to defensive pretty soon. And their job is literally to just hang around the catapult and just pepper away at his men. He's got some more javelin cavalry coming in, but these guys can't deal with catapults. There's another catapult coming out on my side. This ram makes it all the way back to my town centre because he's being cheesy like that. He tries to knock the farm down. It doesn't work. You will see JJ use a lot of sneak rams. He loves his sneak rams. Oh yes, there's going to be so many sneak rams in this game. It's quite unbelievable. Meanwhile, in JJ's base, let's take a look. He's got... Yeah, okay, so he's got... he is age 3, but he's got not really any of the mining upgrades. He's clicking up the Surf's upgrade. Hasn't got the best farming upgrade. He isn't even, oh, he's got both the woodworking upgrades now, but he hasn't got the mining upgrades up to top level. Though he has now finished his mines, and he's not really bothered by this one. He's really relying on his food and his wood to really carry him, and I feel that's where he starts to fall off as the game progresses. He's now having to commit more of his units outside of this fortress to keep this catapult siege down. And he's building more rams. Yeah, more rams. Let's see if they can breach my defences. My population is running very low now, very low. I need to start getting more men onto my wood lines. In fact, what I really need to do is make an expansion, so I can start gathering resources safely again. Whereas JJ is quite happy with his base back here, nice and secure. He's got some sword cavalry coming out. I think their express purpose of those sword cavalry is to come deal with catapults. I don't know where my Sacred Band of Start gone. Have I already used them? I do remember attacking JJ at one point with my Sacred Band, but I don't think I've committed them yet. Here comes an elephant. I can't remember why I built this guy. Possibly to fight rams, possibly to just... Yeah, and he's going to commit onto my town centre now, which is a little bit of a mistake. I wouldn't necessarily agree with this strategy, because destroying the town centre does very little for you in the long term. Because I will just rebuild it. There's very little that this is going to achieve, other than losing him some rams. Both my catapults are still up and fine. The slingers are doing some okay damage to my archers, but we're still winning the ranged fight. And my catapults are still pummeling away. He's getting Karatakos now, which is a bit late. That probably should have been the first thing he built, was Karatakos. My elephant's now going to try and knock down some of his barracks. And see if we can't get that down in time. My archers are now all set to... Oh, they're still on aggressive. I'm just not using them yet. So I really need to recover my economy, and he needs to now get a defense against my siege weapons. I think I'm going to actually score one barracks kill here with my war elephant. Yeah. If I had have moved some units down to support it, I would have been able to get more, but it's not a huge loss for me. It's 250 metal is really the big loss there, and that's about the same as a ram, so I'd say that's a fair trade. Here we can see, still getting more hoplites. My resources are not looking that good anymore. I really need to build an expansion, get some more resources on the board. I'm getting another catapult up to bring this fortress down. Sacred Band of the Start just blocking this ram here. I'm going to force it back into the fortress, or at least away from my buildings. I think he's either trying to bait my units into getting killed under his fortress, but I don't fall for it. I pull the Sacred Band out, we go for another attack. Yeah, just keep microing the Sacred Band around, getting the lance charges in. And there goes that ram. I've still got my 3 Sacred Band. He's got these 6 cavalry, which are going to be real sneaky, come into my base, just start attacking my women. But thankfully, I've got a bunch of units still here, just protecting or rebuilding my town centre. So they're now going to turn on these cavalry, or they should do. Apparently, they're now gathering that chicken, because reasons. Oh, because the town centre is repaired. Some of them turned to fight the cavalry though, so yeah. Overall, I have lost some women over the course of this fight, just bringing my food income down. But really, the siege is going, yeah, it now has turned pretty solidly in my favour. JJ can't keep up the pressure with just the 2 barracks. He's really got to get more units out there. I think he's now turning to get his economy back on track as well. The fortress is about to go down. I do lose some archers as they apparently run under the tower to try and stop it. So there goes the fortress. So now his expansion is open, and he doesn't have enough resources to get another fortress. So this could be the point where he needs to think about, yeah, I either need to reinforce this point or start creating a back line with which, or build an expansion or something. But he hasn't done that yet. The catapults move up under the cover of the towers, under the cover of the archers. And we start bombing his town centre. And that will go down without too much hassle. You can see I've got my first infantry damage upgrade, both my archer upgrades, and my infantry armor upgrade. Whereas with the Britons, they have no armor upgrades, but they've got double ranged infantry damage. But he doesn't have any melee infantry damage, and his cavalry are actually kind of lacking in terms of upgrades. I don't think he's got any of them. Chamfron, range yeah, no, he doesn't have any of his cavalry upgrades. His cavalry aren't particularly effective right now. And there goes the expansion. And unless he garrisons these barracks, he's going to lose access to those as well. So we managed to hold off the forward expansion, which is very good. I'm now going to pull these catapults back and just garrison them in the fortress for use later on. But rather than pushing forward, as you can see, my population's been hanging around 150 for quite some time now, and it's not very good. So what I need to do is now get my population back up and on track. Javier, JJ has now lost all his stone, so he can't get any more slingers, and he can't build another fortress. And I barter my stone for wooden food because I need that right now. I don't need the stone unless I'm building more fortresses. And what I decide is I've got this 5,000 pocket of stone here, so I can start mining that. And I've also got this stone up here, so I decide I'm going to start trading my stone, which is, in hindsight, probably a bad idea, given that JJ really needs the stone to get his slingers, but we'll see if he actually trades for stone as the game progresses. So again, just constant fighting on the front here, but as you can see, I've now got some Sacred Band of Baal that have joined the fight, and in the back, my Sacred Band of Astarte have now started to raid his farmland, and these guys one-shot women. So every time they pull off an attack, that's one extra kill on women. And I just think to myself, you know, just commit them. Just commit them, kill as much as we can, just ruin as much of his eco as we can. Just try do some damage. And at the end of the day, if we get some good kills on his farms, then yeah, there you go. It took him absolutely ages to figure out that his base was under attack. And we just pick up an absolute ton of kills with those Sacred Band. He's now down to 120 population. And we're pushing his assault back here. He's got a very small force of units protecting. I'm getting another blockhouse up, because why not? I now have the population lead. I've got Hamilcar Barak, or Hamilcar Barker. So yeah, all of my soldiers and siege engines get some more speed, which I feel is going to be really handy with the catapults, and also letting my men really just like keep up with his cavalry, and also catching his rams, because there's going to be a lot of sneaky rams. On the plus side, Hamilcar Barker is actually a sword cavalry, so he's going to help a lot with killing rams. So yeah, we can see Javier, JJ here has now traded food for stone. So again, probably not a good idea for me to trade my stone away for food and wood. But I think the exchange rates were pretty good for me, and at the time I needed it. So, but in hindsight, yeah, he needs the stone because he hasn't currently got any being mined, and he's now getting a defensive fortress up to help protect his base. But he really needs to think about getting an expansion. That is priority number one for both players. Resources are starting to run scarce in our Age 3 borders. I managed to pick up some extra resources though by getting these forward barracks. Taro much for that. And I can now get this forest here, I can get this forest here. I could build a, you know, like I could build a barracks over here and then start cutting this down. Once this wood line's done, I think I get these guys to start mining stone, one or the other. But yeah, both players really, now that our populations have declined, the fight really came to a stalemate. I think JJ lost more out of it than I did. He expended more resources, certainly, and his economy was hit pretty hard, so he's having to replace his women if he wants to get that farming back up. He's only got 33 women working 11 farms, so he's missing 22 women right now, which is pretty harsh. That's hitting his food gain quite nasty. Still hasn't got those mining upgrades. Would definitely like to see him get those, but he's got the farming upgrade, which is a start. But I'd definitely like to see those mining upgrades on his behalf, at least up to the age 2 mining upgrades. I still haven't clicked up farming because I'm an idiot apparently, or I just didn't have the resources. I haven't clicked up the mining upgrades either, so you know, I'm bashing my opponent, but really he's got the same upgrades as me. I think both of us just committed so many resources to pushing and then obviously defending. We really didn't have the excess resources to spend on these upgrades when we need military upgrades to give us that advantage in the fight. We need the actual units in the field, so it was all really far too expensive. I built another blockhouse. We've got a 3 blockhouse chain going on here, and now my borders are touching his main base's borders. So we're going to see me now starting to move up to build a more solid siege force. I've also claimed the metal closest to his base. We're going to start mining that because that's a good idea. There's about 20 minutes left in the game though, so the game is by far not over. But I have now started to move on to the offensive. As you can see, JJ's population is still hanging around 140. He really needs to just be chucking out as many spearmen and skirmishers as he can. Just really getting an expansion up again. Like, both players really need to get an expansion going. I've kind of expanded forward for resources, but this is not really my idea of an expansion. You need a town centre, and like, town centre here. Don't worry, you will see it eventually, but that was a big mistake of me. I should have got that up much earlier. It would have given me a lot of safe economy to work with. This wouldn't have got raided or anything like that. And I secure myself 15,000 worth of metal, which is actually 100% worth grabbing the age 3 metal mining for that, because it's just so much. Like, getting that quickly is going to make a huge difference in terms of your champion population. I think I'm trying to swap out training hoplites, or the Libyan spearmen, for the Sacred Band spearmen, but it's going to be pretty expensive. But I mean, now that my economy's back on track, I mean, I'm up to 230 population, and JJ's still under the 200 mark, so it's about a 50 population gap right now. A massive increase in my stone and my metal from having captured this metal mine, borrowing some more of my stone for food just to get more units in the field. And I believe those units will be not Sacred Band, are they upgrades? Okay, we've got another infantry damage upgrade, got the fertilizer upgrade coming in as well, and now the resources are sort of extended outside of my territory. So yeah, you're going to see either all these guys now get pulled off to do some to build a town centre here, or something like that. Getting a good solid chunk of resources from this location though. So I'm not doing bad, certainly. I'm not in a bad spot right here. I don't know why he's got 9 women mining stone. Probably should pull them off and put them on farms, or has he replaced all his farmers now? He's got 45 women, so he's got a lot of women actually doing work outside of his, or away from his town centre. He's starting to get some Brythonic swords. Yeah, he's getting another 6, so he's going to get 10 Brythonic swords, and then presumably garrison them up in the rams, and then go for a real push on me. But at this rate, I'm just stockpiling the resources I need to siege my opponent now. Really push him off all of his resources, or as many resources as I can. Here's the expansion we were waiting for. So there we go. I'm getting 23 of my archers here. They're going to build that expansion and probably go mine immediately. Get me some more metal, because I'm spending my metal at a quite considerable rate. Here we go. I'm getting some more Sacred Band spears out. So both of us are starting to get as many champions as we possibly can, or more champions than we had previously. We're going to need them to just add some extra punch to our attacks in the future. JJ still hasn't built an expansion. I'm sure he can see. He's only really he is kind of lacking on places where he could build one. I mean, if he got one here, you could secure this stone and this metal, but that would definitely encourage an attack from me. Here come the sneak rams. So these rams are going to be really sneaky, and they're going to go all the way around the map, and they're just going to be assholes, basically. My one piece of advice is, if you are going to do this with your sneaky rams, at least garrison them with units. Like, that's what I thought he trained these 10 champion swords for, but he hasn't. Like, if these guys were garrisoned in these rams, and when these rams get into my base, oh my god, they could do so much damage if they were garrisoned with champion swordsmen. But because they're not, all they can do is smash buildings, and that's it. Champion swordsmen, they can jump out, they can kill units that try to, Okay, so I'm going to lose a few spears here, champion spears. There's a pretty nasty loss there. Because he's trying to pull my army out with his slingers and his javeliniers. Some of my spears decide to get engaged. We're getting another forward temple up for healing. I get my spears to now garrison inside the fortress, just to add to the number of arrows fired out here. He's trying to create a diversion, basically. What he's doing is creating a diversion so that these rams can sneak around and get some damage on my base. He's bringing another 2 out as well. Honestly, it's a big mistake, because what happens here is, well, basically my men just fight him, and we're pretty much guaranteed to win because all of his units are... Karatakos is dead there, so that's Karatakos dying there. I lose Hamilcar, so it's champion hero for hero. He's going to lose his champion swords. My archers are just going to trade with him under this fortress. I pop the spearmen out to come kill some of his slingers whilst they're out of position. Probably should have just left them in the fortress, to be honest, but I'm going to put some archers in there instead. Here come the rams. These guys are probably going to have to chase them. Otherwise, my women will have to just take care of them. But that's the thing. If these rams get into my base, so you can see the rams are quite casually getting into my base now, right? If I am forced to use my women to kill these rams, and he had 10 champion swordsmen in these rams, all of my women die, and he destroys my town centre. But because he has no one in these rams, my women can just chop them to bits, which is kind of ridiculous. And even if he does manage to destroy my town centre, as I've said before, it's not the end of the world. I just build another one. Like, what has he realistically achieved? I do actually garrison all my women, because I'm like, oh, I'm under attack. And then I think, wait a second, no, I need to get the women to kill the rams, not hide in the town centre. But I was very busy, you know, handling off this attack here, which at the end of the day, it doesn't really go in either player's favour. I'm on 220 pop, JJ's on 200. So yeah, the town centre gets destroyed, my women just come out, and I get them to attack the ram. The rams are now just going to leave and just move this way up the map. But because I have a town centre here, all these buildings are still connected with each other, so this is all still in my territory. So yeah. Another reason to build more than one town centre, because this doesn't work if you do that. Like, I've lost no buildings. I've lost 500 resources. It is a big hit to my resources, but it's not like so egregious that I can't recover from it. And Hamilcar's back. So the second he dies, I re-recruit him, and there goes the next ram. And then these spearmen are just going to kill off this ram as well. I think some of these women might turn around to just block this ram coming in. There we go. And then Hamilcar can just finish this off. There we go, 1 HP ram, 1 HP. Oh, my spearmen are blocking my hero. Oh, there we go, it's the last hit. So there you go, sneaky rams, but they achieve ultimately nothing at the end of the day. All my women will go back to farming or other various useful jobs, you would hope. My expansion here, not training any men from it, don't really need to. I've got like over 35 units, just currently cutting wood, mining metal. I trade some wood, which I have a crap load of. I've got 7,000 wood for food, so I can keep getting some more soldiers out for the front line. Hamilcar just rides ahead, just being a crazy bastard. Don't know why he does this, but sure. So we can see, ooh, is he going to get any more sneaky rams? He's now got a total of 5 rams, and he's pushing on my forward blockhouse. This will not work. simply because I'm pretty sure I can just fight his army here. But I do need to get my men to retask their orders. They need to not be attacking or shooting the ram here. That's a terrible, terrible thing. But I do have a total of 20 sacred band of Baal here now to kick the crap out of the cavalry. And also kill his rams, so there's that too. They do both things. So the blockhouse is going to stay up. He's not going to get anything out of this this attack with his rams. He's going to pick up quite a lot of the sacred band in kills, but not enough to make it worth it. These guys, whilst they are expensive, they've just paid their wages. They just destroyed 4 rams, so they were totally worth it. Totally worth it. I did lose a crap load of my archers to his cavalry over here, but at the end of the day, I do come out on top. There's another ram comes in here, and right, so he brings a ram in to be sneaky, and I just pop my catapults out and destroy it with my catapults. So yeah, nice sneak ram there. Catapults counter rams. A little bit of a tip there. The high crush damage just manages to. Rams have only got 40% crush damage resistance. These guys, when they hit a shot, do 100 crush damage, so they do about 60 damage. Pretty solid. Blockhouse stays up. We're seeing another ram come out, but that's about it. JJ's down to 170 pop again. He hasn't really got enough resources coming in to get more rams. He's having to trade for all of his metal and stone to be able to get siege weapons and fortresses. Whereas I have now a very solid income of metal, and I've still got plenty of stone coming in as well. So I can get more fortresses, I can get more siege weapons, I can get more catapults if I want, I can get more war elephants. Whereas, yeah, JJ's having to trade food for metal, which obviously isn't a problem for him. He has got a huge surplus of food, and I should have tried to crash the market earlier on, but it's very hard to do that when your resources are constantly being expended. But yeah, I don't have to trade for my resources. That's one of the key things. Now, he does know that I have an expansion here. He can see my borders, so what he's going to do is he's going to send a single ram over, again, just one ram, and come knock this expansion down. And I blindly don't realise that he's doing this, and I lose that expansion, but I rebuild it shortly afterwards. So, I mean, like, again, if you destroy a town centre but you don't kill the units that were working inside of it, you achieve basically nothing. It's all about population kills. If you don't kill any population, your attack really doesn't amount to very much. Especially if you're losing rams out of it, and the rams are expensive units. Don't get me wrong there. Currently I've got Hamilcar plus 19 Sacred Band of Baal just stacked in this temple here. So yeah, we are ready to fight off as many cavalry and as many rams as he wants to send at me. And I've got the upgrades to do it. Still don't see any cavalry upgrades. This is really weird because he constantly uses quite a large bulk of cavalry to attack me with, and he never gets any upgrades for them. Whereas I have all the infantry upgrades, which means my army's basically at top effectiveness. There's a single Celtic woman wandering out over there. Yeah, so his borders have sort of he's out gathered all his resources. He really needs, again, I think one of the reasons JJ lost this game at the end of the day is because he doesn't build any expansions. And at this stage of the game, like 50 minutes into the game, it's all about map control. You've got to have resources under your control, and you've got to be able to outproduce your opponent. That's like the main deal with this. This ram is this is quite funny. At the end of this game, I'm like, enough with the sneak rams. Like, it's too much for me to have to keep tabs on, like, the engagements going on the front here. Microing all my units to keep them outside of the fortress fire, and also pulling his cavalry away and that kind of thing. I notice his rams, he's just pushing them around the flank, so I cut my champions in half. Not literally in half, but I get half my champions to come and engage his rams down here, and the other half to stay with my main battle line to keep these cavalry away from my units. 5 war elephants pop. He still hasn't knocked this down, but he's got another 2 rams coming over to do that. He's also got 1 Brythonic longsword, which is going to die. right there. This is another sneaky ram, more sneak rams, because reasons. But at this point, it doesn't really matter. These elephants force him to engage his army. If he doesn't engage with his army, he's going to lose his fortress. Doesn't matter how many units he's got sitting here repairing it. He's got to fight. If this elephant comes in and destroys his rams instantly, because that's what elephants do, with their huge crush damage. I decide to engage his cavalry here, because why not? Like, Sacred Vandal is going to tear through them. My catapults decide to do a crap load of splash damage, probably to my own units. Kunabellin gets into the fight, and he's going to die pretty swiftly to these many champion spears. Oh, yeah, he's dead, there we go. No more Kunabellin. I've got a good squad of 80 archers. These rams just, like, casually destroy my town centre here. This ram is going to die to all my women, so, yeah, he achieves nothing here again. It's another 200 wood, 200 metal lost. I think I realised that I lose that expansion once I realise I run out of metal. I'm like, where's all my metal gone? I'm sure I have like a bunch of miners just mining metal up here. But yeah, that's why. So after the engagement here, I knock his fortress down. What do? Build another fortress. Just creep fortresses towards my opponent. These catapults now set up to start firing on this fortress. And just really this is playing the siege game. You just creep up the map, win your engagements by playing them smartly, and then just force your opponent to just tap out because they have no control over the map. They have no control over what happens. So my women, I notice these rams coming in. I think, well, let's block the rams before they get a chance to get onto my town centre. So I just push the women outside of my TC to do that. Should be able to pick up both these rams. They might get this town centre, I'm not gonna lie. But even if they do, like, again, this achieves nothing when I own, well, when I'm literally sieging his base down, and I can just get more and more units to do so. Population-wise, JJ's now looking at 200, but I don't see many of them committed into the fight. He's got a huge number of units. It's like a good 30 men here. They're just not doing anything. He's got 20 units, or roughly about 15 units or so, in this fortress. He's got a load more queued up. That's his population, by the way. His population is not actually men in the field. It's all queued up in these barracks. And he's really just training like a mixture of everything that he can to try and keep my soldiers at bay. But no upgrades. Like, the only units that are benefiting from his upgrades are his ranged units, and they don't have any armor upgrades, so they just completely lose in a ranged fight with my archers. So my archers have got level 1 archer, 11 pierce damage, more or less. Let's go into the observer, just to point this out. So they've got about 11 pierce damage and 3 pierce and hack armor. His slingers have 13, oh this is, yeah, level 1. They have 13.7 pierce damage and 1.4 crush. So they've got about 4 points more damage, but they've got only 1 armor. So the difference in armor is, whereas my guys have 27% damage reduction, so they reduce all damage received by a quarter, his range units only take 10% less damage. So my archers on average deal 10 points of damage. His 14 strength slingers, on average, lose 25% of their damage, so they only deal about 10 damage on average. Whereas my guys have much higher range. So all these archers at the back are completely safe, and his guys have to commit quite far forward. And they're going to really suffer against melee units as well once they get into the fight. Judging on his units, I'm like, well, I can just move my catapults forward, like, who cares? My catapults can just, like, what are these guys going to do? Like, the slingers are the only ones that do any considerable damage to these catapults, and even then, like, meh. So, a bunch of idle cavalry. He's still got a load of idle cavalry down by his storehouse. He really should be committing everything he's got into this engagement. But to really hit these archers, he has to engage me under my fortress. We do take a lot of losses here, don't get me wrong. But this is sort of his last-ditch attempt, whereas my resources are still looking absolutely wonderful. And I'm really batch training a bunch of spearmen out to get onto the front lines. I should have got conscription upgrade way earlier. I should have got more farmers, mind you, but there you go. you watch the replays to see what you could do better in future. It's part of becoming a better player. There you go. So I'm up to 217 pop. JJ's now down to 170. He's getting another fortress up, but it's not going to stick. There goes another barracks. He's going to lose this one next. So I'm really focusing on hitting his unit production, because that forces him to put it further and further back. And the further back his unit production is, the more I can push forward. The more, like, he can't build an expansion over here because I can just flood units at him from every direction. He can't build an expansion up here because I could just start building. I could just grab these guys, build some barracks down here, and then just flood units on that. So I've now kind of forced him into a position where all he can do is defend and sort of steadily just get pushed further and further back. And again, I just sit my archers right on top of the catapults and just whittle away his forces as they come to engage us. And just move the spearmen up. These guys aren't moving up. They will do in a moment. There we go. Move the spearmen up to just stand right in front of the archers and just take as much damage as they can. The archers are the ones getting all the kills throughout the course of this fight. And the spearmen as well, once they do get into melee with these cavalry, will do plenty of damage. Don't get me wrong, it's just that the majority of the damage is coming from these archers, which a lot of them, as you can see, are all level 3. So all these dudes with the little straw hats, or most of the ones with the little straw hats and little shields, they're all level 3. So they have much better armor. They're up to 5 armor. They have higher range. Their damage doesn't increase, which is a bit interesting, because I know most of the units, their damage seems to increase. I can just be talking shit there. No, okay, yeah, I'm just talking shit. They get more armor, that's the main thing. So yeah, these rank 3 archers are up to 96 hit points with 41% damage reduction, so they only take about 8 points of damage from these slingers. Whereas his slingers are taking 10 from my archers, so like these guys completely out DPS and outrange his units. It's just not good for him. We're gonna see the tap out pretty soon, but I decide I've had enough of the sneak rams, so I decide, you know what? Have a taste of your own medicine. I'm gonna get sneak war elephants. We're gonna get sneaky war elephants to come in and smash his town center. But he's gonna give up before then because he's lost 2 barracks over here. He's got 1 barracks left. There you go. There's the resign. He's only got 2 barracks, his town center in this fortress. It's just the siege pressure was just too much. But yeah, it was a really good game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was pretty intense. It was a lot I needed to keep an eye on. Like, we've got all these raids coming in from the back. We've got sneaky siege weapons. You know, having to manage, or at least getting this expansion up, constantly pushing forces forward. The micromanaging in the battles was pretty difficult. I've learned a few tricks since then, which would have made that a lot cleaner, a lot easier to handle. But overall, yeah, it was a really good game. I really enjoyed it. Very well played by JJ here. He had some pretty strong early aggression. It really kept me on my toes. I think really at the end of the day it came down to just no expansions. He couldn't really slingshot his economy back up. Once he lost this forward expansion, he should have thought to himself, right, now I need to get more resources so I can get my own defense up or keep putting the pressure on my opponent. But he didn't, and I think that was really the biggest mistake there. If he had got an expansion over here, more metal, more stone, some more wood as well, expansion over here just for wood would have been fine too. But either way, yeah, it was still good though. So as you can see at the end of the game, very equal economy scores, pretty damn close. I did explore more of the map. Take from that what you will. It wasn't that much, but there you go. But I do win the military score at the end of the game, just from sheer number of buildings that I managed to destroy. So we can see I built a total of 89 buildings. JJ on 92. I capture 5. I lose 7. I destroy 13. Of all the buildings that JJ manages to destroy, he got 1 temple, and he got my town center. Like, he got 2 town centers. Like, all his rams did was focus sneaking around my base and destroying my town centers. Again, don't do this. do not use your siege weapons for like their intended purpose. Like, push forward, knock through your opponent's front line, hit their unit production, not their town centers. Town centers equate to nothing if they can just build more units, just defeat your attack. It's like we saw in Kazu's game. He committed everything on my town center, and he ended up losing because of it. And I think JJ committed so many resources to all those rams, and all he did was destroy a town center that I instantly rebuilt. Like, you gain nothing. He built 22 rams, and he destroyed 4 buildings. I built 3 catapults and destroyed 13. Unit efficiency. It makes a big difference in how you use your units. As far as units trained, I built a lot more infantry, but he built a whole 350 cavalry on top of that. And at the end of the day, they did very little in terms of actual like damage. I mean, they did do good damage, don't get me wrong, but not as good as you would have expected. And again, that was the lack of upgrades. The lack of upgrades meant he couldn't trade units with me very well, which is a big difference. Huge amount of food gathered from JJ there compared to me, which he did use correctly. He traded most of it at the marketplace, which is very good. It did make my purchase of food cheaper, mind you, but yeah, it was certainly a fair play with that kind of surplus. I gathered a lot more wood, gathered a lot more stone, like twice the amount of stone that he did. I gathered 20,000 or 16,000 more wood, and I gathered about twice the amount of metal. So by having that surplus of metal, the surplus of stone, I was able to get more fortresses, I was able to get more champions, and get my siege weapons. Whereas, as you can see, JJ had to trade for most of his stone and metal because he didn't gather enough. Now that's not a bad thing because he was trading efficiently. I traded no food in that game. I sold no food, which normally I would do, but I didn't get enough farmers, so that was my bad, and I learned from that. I should get, when I have that sort of that lull in the game after he stopped attacking me with cavalry, I should have thought to myself, right, I need to boom my economy, got to get some more farmers up, like straight away. Should have done that. Should have got another 10 farmers, another 20 farmers, and then I would have been able to get a lot more champions, and I should have built an expansion sooner as well. But either way, there you have it. As far as miscellaneous went, 1.43 kill death ratio. Those upgrades made a huge difference. And also just, you know, using my army effectively, keeping my range units around my temples. You see that in multiple, or quite a few of the engagements. Fighting under the blockhouses, only really using the spearmen as my units who I'm okay with losing. My archers are constantly kept by my siege weapons or under the temples, under the fortresses, and just allowed to get damage through. And I feel that's where, really, at the end of the day, I won, because the positioning of my army just meant that my opponent was bottlenecked and forced to engage me in unfavourable locations. Which, yeah, at the end of the day, it meant that I could win. I could push up my fortresses, I could get my catapults in, and just knock his buildings down without any resistance, really, or without any like meaningful resistance. But as you can see at the end of the game, our ecos were pretty much standard throughout. My military score was much higher throughout the entire game. Now, this is odd, and I think it's mostly to do with the game equating champions to being like that much more worth it in terms of military score. But as you can see, like, the game was a lot closer than that, so the champions obviously weren't making that huge of a difference. I mean, they did in certain parts, like the 20 spearmen being able to knock out 5 of his rams and kill a bunch of his cavalry for only like 5 losses. Pretty incredible results there. But that's why you don't mess with champions. Like, once your opponent gets like a decent group of champions, they can completely trash your army if used correctly. Exploration. Gotta explore the map, and the sooner you get it done, the more of an idea you have about where your opponent might expand, where you might expand. Getting those 3 metal mines up in the corner of the map, like, imagine if JJ had have got that. Like, I would have not been able to get my champions out. I wouldn't have been able to get war elephants when I needed them. For upgrades, like, JJ didn't get those many upgrades, and it could have been because his metal mining and stone mining just wasn't strong enough. If he had got those 3 metal mines, though, could have been a different story. It would have also given him a lot more convenient angle of attack with his siege weapons. Rather than having to sneak them all the way around the map, he could have just built a town centre there, built a fortress, and then started chucking battering rams out much, much closer to my base. But there you go. As far as total score went, pretty close. Pretty damn close game, but it was great fun. So again, thanks once again for Javier Jose, or Javier Jose, or JJ, as I'm going to be calling him. It was a really fun game. And I hope this is, you know, for you guys watching this. I know it's been a long ass video. It's over an hour long. My rambling probably doesn't help make it any shorter. But I hope that you enjoyed it. This was a lot, you know, it's a pretty decently, like, skill-rated game. I mean, both of us have got lots of things we can improve on. But we're both decent players, like, we're not bad players. And that could have, you know, it might have shown you guys maybe some tips on how you might play, or certain things that you may have noticed in your own replays. Or maybe you've never really looked over your own replays, and by watching this you might get an idea of how you might evaluate your replays, what you could be doing better. At the end of the day, you've got to look at what you're doing and what your opponent's doing, and you might pick up tips from what your opponent does. And he gets, again, like, I was expecting attacks a lot sooner, hence me going into like archers very early on in the game. JJ correctly, rather than just attacking me with cavalry, he put me on the defense with that early raid of 3 cavalry, and I thought to myself, right, we're going to get javelin cavalry coming up the wazoo very soon, and there's going to be a lot of them. Better start training units. That hurt my wood income, obviously, which meant I couldn't get a barracks up as soon, whereas JJ correctly built a barracks, which is why he was about 20 or 30 population up for that stage of the game. Now, whilst that population was cavalry that wasn't working, it meant that his economy was equal to mine, and he was able to raid me. So you got to think about it in terms like that. Like, he did have the stronger early game, but after he lost his expansion, he didn't really push his expansion advantage enough. He took some pretty bad engagements and didn't really play through the siege correctly. Again, I think more people, once they know or actually utilize the garrison ability on rams, you'll see games like that will go more in the favor of the attacker, because garrisoning units in your rams is just do it. Just try it out sometime. Like, if you're gonna sneak a ram into your opponent's base, put 10 units in it and watch as your opponent gets all of his women to try and destroy your ram, and then you just pop out 10 swordsmen on their head, and you just kill all their women, and destroy their town centre, and then just walk around just capturing all their houses. That's GG right there, with 1 ram and 10 units, if they don't have any men in their base. Literally, the game could have easily been won by JJ there, had he have done that. But maybe if JJ watches this video, then he could learn that as a tip for the future. Maybe that will help him win some more games as we all continue to play some more 0 AD. Anyway, this has been a super long video, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to be doing another commentary. Yeah, there's another commentary of a game I want to do. It was another 1v1. I can't remember. I didn't actually finish it. It was a 1v1 where I got to, like, the sort of crux, like the crucial turning point in the game. Like, the tables had really turned on my opponent, and then he disconnected. And I don't know if that's because he quit, or if his internet actually cut out. I'm not gonna, like, point my finger and say he rage quit or anything like that, because I'm not sure. But it was really unfortunate, because it was like that crucial moment in the game where you're like, yeah, I've finally turned the tables on my opponent, and I've never played a game where my opponent is that aggressive. honestly, like, I've played games where a player is aggressive and attacks you quite early on with a significant mass of units, but in the next commentary that I do, it's like hyper-aggression. Like, committing everything. It is the definition of committing everything. It's crazy. You'll see it and be like, hopefully it will enlighten you as to like the levels certain players will go to when they're on the offense, and it will really make you think like, wow, how do I deal with this? But the way I deal with it also links with how my the build order I want to do for the channel very soon. So hopefully that comes up soon. Anyway, it's been me, Chaff Commander Coffee. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.